Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you for some reason. Hang on one second. Let's see what's going on here. What did I do? What did I do wrong? Uh, that's what I did wrong. Maybe? Yeah, that's what I did wrong. I'm a silly goose.
Hey, you can be silly at times. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're going to talk AI. We're going to talk social audio. We're going to talk threads. Right now, right off the bat, I want all day long. This is my promise. I want everybody here sharing their link to threads in the chat. Share it every 5 minutes, share it every 10 minutes, whatever. And we've been a community for a while. So let's get everybody a few followers. We're a pretty much a group of like minds. So let's get on this and do this. Okay. So Tom, I was so happy I was so happy when I saw you on Threads.
Yeah, I saw the link. It was a guy. It was actually a guy that I follow on LinkedIn, and his link popped up, and his yeah, like his link popped up, and I clicked on it, and it was the first introduction I'd had to Threads. I had no idea what it was. I think it was like the day after it debuted. I think I was about 24 hours, maybe 36 hours late to the party, so to speak. But yeah, I had no idea what it was, and I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I get it. Twitter alternative. Totally makes sense from Meta. Not a huge fan of Meta, but also I think it's like for me it was like the lesser of the two evils. Like I dislike Meta less than I dislike Musk. It's very close though. It's like neck and neck, But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. It's like I said, one of my first threads, one of my first posts I put on Threads was that I don't think that Threads is going to kill Twitter, but I think it's the canary in the coal mine, and I think the canary just stopped singing. So.
Hey, well, on that note, my buddy George, I just told George the other day about Clubhouse social audio. So wave at my friend George down there. George, get a bio, put your Threads account in the side, and everybody here, check George out. George Scott, he's a good dude, and he's trying Clubhouse for the first time today. But back to this. Before we get into Threads, make sure you put your Threads in the side. We'll follow. I'm going to try to follow every person on there. I am not, what is with people that don't follow back? Like, and I'm not saying just in general, I'm saying like somebody that I've been friends with for 5 years, I support them and I can't get a follow back. Am I wrong about this? Or should I be like is competitive or angry or hurt by that? Or is that weird, Tom?
I mean, I think it's sort of common courtesy, right? If you know the person, I feel like you should probably give them a follow back for sure. But the flip side of that is that I try really hard, and it's difficult not to do this, but I try really hard to not take that personally, right? Because I think where your brain goes automatically is like, oh, they saw it was me, and they were like, no, I don't want to follow him, right? That's where your brain goes. But there's a very good chance that it's A, they don't realize that you're following them, B, it didn't pop up, or they missed it in their notifications, right? So there's like 101 reasons why they're not following you back. Maybe they just have a policy that they don't follow anyone back, right? But I always try not to take it personally, right? Like I try to not assign motive to other people's actions, because I think that's a slippery slope. It's hard to do, right? Because your inclination is to read something a particular way or take something a particular way and assign motive to someone else's actions. It could simply be inaction or a mistake on their part. So I try not to take it personally, but I do think like generally speaking, if somebody I know follows me, somebody I know, right, follows me, I'll follow them back, right? I don't follow everyone all the time. I don't follow back 100% of the people that click follow for me. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that boat. But if it's somebody I know, I'll definitely follow them back. I think that's reasonable.
See, we're full of common courtesy. Now, here's the question: has Tom followed anybody back yet that put their name in the chat? I don't think so. I'm going to get on it and follow.
I don't even have the chat open yet.
Neither do I, but I just wanted to mess with you. Okay, we're moving on. We got to talk to Prof T. We got producer Jimmy, Julie, Heather. Hey, we got a room brewing. What's up, Debbie? Debbie Griffins, George, Lois. Angelica's back. Carrie, okay, we got a cool vibe going here today. And I got my Pittsburgh versus everybody shirt on. I love to wear, if you're on the live stream, you can see this shirt says Pittsburgh versus everyone. This is the second time I bought this shirt. I think the first one got ruined. The second one, when I was in pharmaceuticals, I got it at a grocery store for like $6. And I was in pharmaceuticals, and we used to have to call on pharmacies. And one day I was in a grocery store pharmacy with my boss. And I was like, I got to go over here for a second. And I came through the line, and here I was with the Pittsburgh versus everything shirt. So it came back. All right, sorry for the sidebar. Prof T, you on Threads? What do you do? What do you got going on? What is new today, Prof T? How you been? That was a bad segue to Prof T. Prof T deserves better than that. So, well, we're going to cruise on. Producer Jimmy, weigh in. Is producer Jimmy on Threads? I think so. Now I'm going to start following people, Tom. So let's talk to producer Jimmy. Go on, my friend.
Yes, I am. I am on Threads. I came in at like number 54 million and something. So I was sleeping on it longer than you, Tom. But I did come in on it, and it's under my Instagram username, obviously. So it's not the same as here, unfortunately. So it's Flintstone Media, but it is in the chat. And here's the thing. So not that long ago, I used to love Twitter. The Twitter experience was always something that really resonated with me. However, the last several years have gotten so unbelievably toxic on there that it's not enjoyable for me anymore. So when this came about, the reason I'm loving this so much is because I feel like I have my Twitter experience back, because it's the same similar functionality. But now it's even better because it's now my friends from Clubhouse and Instagram who I have nothing but positive interactions with. So it's all positivity on Threads, at least so far. So I hope it lasts. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm not seeing the growth that I wish I would have so far, but I've also been very busy with a lot of other things, as you know, Power Moms Network and whatnot. But I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. I'm so glad it came on, because I've been really disheartened with how toxic Twitter's become.
Thank you, producer Jimmy. And you don't want to bash on anything but it's what you're saying is obvious to see, right? It's clear as day. So let's just put out some more good. Let's keep this train rolling. And I just followed back. I'm down. You know what I'm going to do? I want to go find Tom's thread, and I'm going to put it right up top. Tom will be the most followed guy on Threads. I don't know that. I think if Tom was the most followed guy on Threads, he would be the same exact guy he is right now and be completely humble about it. What do you think, Tom? Or would he be a real jerk?
I would hope I wouldn't be a huge jerk. I would hope. But yeah, and I would try to be humble. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I've said before, and I 100% mean it. I don't really care about follower numbers. I care much more about community and relationships, right? Relationships are what's important to me. I don't care. Like, I don't want to be the guy that has, like Elon Musk, right? Like, let's go ahead and just dig into him, because I think he deserves it. But like Elon Musk is the most probably one of the most prolific people on Twitter, even before he bought the platform. And, has millions and millions and millions of followers. I don't even know how many million followers he has now. But he doesn't really have any relationship with any of those people, right? They're sort of like, they've bought into his cult of personality. And I don't want to be that guy, right? Like, it's isolating and lonely to be in a situation like that. I don't want that for myself, right? And like, I want relationships with people, right? Like, so everybody that's here up on this stage right now, I have a relationship with, right? Because of this room. Like, I could reach out to you, to Prof T, to Jemmy, to Julie, to Heather. Actually, Tristan, I think, is relatively new, so I'm not sure. But Harry, Carrie, like, I feel like I could reach out to any of you and have a genuine conversation outside of this space, and it would be meaningful and rewarding, and it would be based on a real relationship, right? That's what I want. So I really don't care about follower numbers, right? I care about building community. I care about relationships. That's my capital, right? Like, that's what I think is important. It's like I don't care about, how many zeros I have in the bank, right? Like, that doesn't really mean anything to me. It's, am I happy, right? Am I fulfilled? Am I satisfied? Am I doing good in the world? Am I helping other people? Like, those are the things that are important, right? I think those are the things that make a rich life, not zeros, and not follower numbers. So that's what matters to me. So yeah, I think I'd be the same person, regardless of how many followers I had.
Good stuff, Tom. Hey, would you share, Tom? Last week you said you just gave a message that your dad shared with you at one point about making money, and since you brought that up, it hits me, and that's really been on my mind since you said it. So if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely, I'd be happy to. It was a long time ago when I was thinking about making a career decision, is what it was. I had an opportunity. I had the opportunity to take a job. I didn't really want the job, but I had the opportunity to take the job. It would have paid pretty well, but I didn't think it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And so I was having a conversation with my dad one night, and he said, look, at the end of the day, you have to do what you feel is right for you, because you can always make more money, right? But you can't always make more happiness. So, like, you have to do what makes you happy, and then everything else kind of falls into place. Like, you can figure the other things out. You can always make more money, right? Always make more money. You can't always make more happiness. And is making a little bit more money worth sacrificing your happiness, right? We all have a limited time, right? Our lives are finite. From the moment we're born, we're on a clock, right? And regardless of how much time you have, I know that, here I am in my 40s. I know as I sit here right now that what's really important to me is not how much money I have, right? Not how many things I have, not how much I can spend, but, whether or not I'm happy and fulfilled, and I feel like I'm doing good and being productive with my life, and I don't equate money to productivity. So yeah, you can always make more money. Focus on happiness first.
Good stuff, Tom. I try to live my life that way, and when I don't, I'm probably not as happy. So, but you still got it's a conundrum, right? A catch-22 at times. It's tough. It weighs on you. You always wonder, am I doing the right thing? But appreciate you sharing that with us. Speaking of relationships, and friends and people you believe in that you meet on the site, we're gonna hop to Julie Loken here, and we're working on putting on an event in Chicago in February. It's called Creative Con, and it's something that we came up with through being friends on here. And now, like, in person, we're going to try to bring as many creators in one spot, have publishers and podcasters and YouTubers all in one place with breakout rooms and things like that. And it was a friendship that was built through Clubhouse and networking. And like you said, Tom, just like the people in these rooms, they are your friends. They are you've shared some stories with them, shared some battles. So Julie Loken, weigh in on Threads and weigh in on this event if you want to tease it. Go on.
Hey guys. Okay, so I'm like, oh my gosh, not another room about Threads. But I'm going to be respectful to Dom and Tom because they're amazing. Not on Threads. I'm sure I'll get on it someday. I have no bandwidth to be on another site right now. Twitter, I don't follow all the stuff with Elon. I know he's like kind of a tyrant, but it's great if you are a journalist. That's where all the journalists hang out. And that's where creatives hang out. Segue to Creative Con. So Dom, I, and our friend Rhonda Penders of the Wild Rose Press, we're throwing up an event. We have a theater reserved, and we're going to have workshops and also live performance. We're going to have live YouTubers, live videographers. Tom's coming, and Emmy-nominated director and producer Tom Langan is coming. But it's going to be really amazing, like top notch. It's going to be super fun. And Dom is keeping me on my toes, that's for sure. So if you guys are interested, our site will be up shortly, February 17th and 18th of 2024. So thanks for letting me do that, Dominick.
Hey, booyah. And this, now let me give a Threads, just, like one, let me just weigh in on this idea of, is it overkill? Is it this? Is it this? Should we be on it? Everybody's talking about it. Well, my belief is this. It's when I used to read Jack Welch when my wife was going through her master's. That's how I learned. She's getting her master's, and I would read her business books and stuff too. So, legendary CEO of GE, and he always talked about being first to market. And so the reason I believe in Threads right now is just like if you were one of the first, like speaking of OGs, first. So my friend Neil, he's going to come up here in a minute, but Neil was one of the first people on Clubhouse, right? He got to the market first and like blew up on Clubhouse, because when you are first to market, people are coming to the market. If you go on Instagram right now, there's already 1 billion people on it already, or maybe more. Facebook, you try to create your platform right now on Facebook, there's already 5 billion. Well, okay, you could get on and you could compete there. And I would encourage you, if you have the time, figure out how to compete in all these places. Threads is a new market. If you go on today, like you're fighting a different battle. Maybe nobody like producer Jimmy, who helps podcasters and has a podcast network. Maybe you're the first one doing that over there. Maybe you're one of the first, maybe the first one doing it your way. So that's why it's great to get on, just like social audio. Maybe if you're not here, well, then maybe somebody else is sharing your story there. People consume content. Like, I'm a publisher by day, and this is what I believe. Even though I'm a publisher by day, people consume content various ways. So there are people over on TikTok that only get their content from TikTok. And once you build a relationship with them, maybe they would, hey, follow you somewhere else. Maybe they would buy your book. But if you're not there, if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? So I believe it's very important on being there, and especially when you can be first to market or early to market. You are early to market right now. Okay, this is not the smartest guys in the room. I jumped over Prof T because I came to Prof T, but she was gone for a second. So Prof T, you back? What?
Yes,
Go
I
on, Prof T.
am.
Okay, Prof T, where do you weigh in on having 900 social media accounts, or what are you doing?
Well, I love this topic and always a fan of this room. I'm in Atlantic City at the moment, celebrating 26 years of marital bliss. And I love the topic because I equate social media to dating and marriage. And here's why. By the way, best of luck to you guys and girls, on your Create-A-Con. Looking good. So here's why I say that, half jokingly, because, social media is a relationship. You can have all kinds of platforms and put your content out, and you're going to attract all kinds of people. And I love what Tom said earlier about, people in this room on the stage are friends. That's a high honor. And I consider that an honor when someone considers me a friend and says something like that on a Clubhouse stage where we've really not met everyone even in person, but consider them friends. And I'll land with this. I don't want to hog up your mic, but here's what I've learned. Here's what I know. Just like any relationship, it takes time to cultivate. It takes commitment, and it doesn't always work out. Let's be real here. 50% of all marriages don't work out for one reason or another. My first marriage ended because my husband passed away. I was left a widow overnight with absolutely no skills. So I had to pretty much pick myself up. And through that, I learned a couple of things. It takes time to become who you are. It takes support and friendships, and it takes the ability to getting honest and releasing the things that hold you back, investing in yourself, and developing the discipline to go the full circle. So I believe that although you have a lot of social media platforms, you've got to build relationships with people. And in the end, most of those people aren't going to turn out to be the person that you want to collaborate with or marry, so to speak, in a business relationship. So I love it. I think a lot of it's hype. You can buy followers, you can buy friends, but you cannot buy pure, genuine friendship and love. Thank you. I hope you're all having a great day. God bless you from Atlantic City, New Jersey. You all have a good one. I'm going to be listening. Thanks.
Boom, Prof T. I like that. You can buy followers, you can buy likes, you can buy comments, you can buy all that junk, but it doesn't mean jack, right? You can buy, like, if it's so surface level. And and don't take this the wrong way. I'm not paying for a check. I'm not. I refuse to pay for the check. I'm not doing. I will almost live in a world of spite where I'm not paying for the check. Even if, like, every creator at some point or business owner should pay for the check, just my principle says that I shouldn't pay for it. Maybe they give, but then they value added and say that you're getting so much good for that. But I'm not sure that's why people. I don't know. Go on, Tom.
I think it's hilarious how many people I've heard come out and say, for the record, after they changed the Twitter policy for the blue check marks where it became a pay to play thing, how many people I hear come out and say, for the record, I'm verified on Twitter. I do not pay for that check mark. I don't know why I have it, but I don't pay for it. I will never pay for it. But they realized, I think Twitter realized that it made sense to leave the blue check on the higher profile accounts because it would help them sell more of the blue checks. But yeah, so many of those people have come out and said, I don't know why I have a blue check mark on Twitter anymore. I'm not paying for it. I will never pay for it. I don't think anybody should pay for it. But it's hilarious. It cracks me up every time, but I hear it over and over and over again. And I know you can pay for it on some other platforms too. I'm just not going to do it either. I agree with you.
And you make a good point, Tom. Maybe, like, if you had the check mark before, or like if I got a friend who's a judge or something like that, or another friend who's a basketball coach for one of the biggest schools in the country. Okay. Like, his name's verified. So I get it, but I can't bring myself to pay. All right. I wonder, let's see. I'm looking at this chat. Let's see. There's a few people in the room. Really, we should do some good here. Hey, who didn't put their thread in the chat? Let's see. Hey, we'll get you a follow back. If you're just going to
jump in after you broke my chops, I put mine in. I put it in.
Okay, good. And you can put it back in there, because we've been in the room an hour here or whatever, or a half hour. So put it back in. People can see it. We're a community, so least we can do is a little support. Okay, Heather, what do you got going on? I'm following Heather on Threads. I see. And it's a little different message. I'm liking the Heather I'm seeing over there. Go on, Heather.
Thanks, Dom. Yeah, I mean, look, Threads kind of gave me like with any social media platform that comes out, you have a chance for a fresh start, right? And that over there is more of like, for myself, I like to brain dump. I like to think of things. I like to have thought processes. I like to test the app. I like to, and I also have like my podcast over there. I'll like throw up a video, but I'm really enjoying just being able to like brain dump on that platform. And just testing. I'm such a nerd. This is like my wheelhouse. When a new social media platform comes out, I'm like off to the races. And what I really like about this one is the concept of the Fediverse, which basically is like you can move from platform to platform and take your followers with you, which I think is really smart, because not everybody wants to start a new social media platform where they have to organically get followers. Yes, please, for the love of God, don't buy followers. Don't buy followers. I repeat, I swear to God, don't buy followers. I'm tired of people buying followers. And it's funny because you'll be able to see those who purchase followers on Instagram. When they signed up for Threads, you can see which ones are organic followers and not. Because the way that the app works is whoever signs up for Threads, it needs to be a real person, a manual person who clicks that join Threads. And then it says follow all, right? So you can follow everybody that you follow on Instagram. But you'll see that like those who have like 1 million followers, 2 million followers on Instagram, you'll go over to Threads and they have like 1,000 followers. That's because they freaking bought their followers on Instagram. So I've just been loving that fact and be like, okay, yup, I've seen like they're literally 5%. Those who have like celebrities and those who buy followers, literally it'll be 5% of their followership from Instagram to Threads. I'm standing at 16% right now. So you got to think about like, please, for the love of God, don't buy followers. I will cry if I see people buying followers already on that platform. I will get so annoyed. But then also it's not so toxic. I know somebody mentioned that earlier, that Twitter was freaking toxic as hell, and it's becoming even more toxic. And I mean, anything to get away from Elon Musk, I'm for. But I just want to give everybody a little tip, because this is one of the things that I figured out. And Dom, if you've been following me, you probably know this because I do repost it and it gets pushed to the top of my thread. If you hit enter, it does a line break, kind of like a sentence and then a sentence underneath, right? If you hit enter twice, it does that like paragraph break where there's a space between the two paragraphs. But if you hit enter 3 times in thread, it will create a brand new thread underneath your already existing editing thread, so that you can create that thread, right? So like and that's just like Twitter. You press that little plus sign while you're making a tweet, you can add another tweet underneath of it and create this thread, as people would call it over on Twitter. You'll see they're like, here are my top, my favorite one on Twitter is AI has ruined the data mining game. Here are my 5 reasons why thread. And then you'll see like 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, whatever. Same concept over on Threads. You just have to hit enter 3 times to add a new thread to your already existing editing thread. So I love Threads because I love all new techie stuff, but that may go away because, it's like shiny object syndrome. There's always a new social media platform coming out, but I think this one is probably the best so far in regards to followership, streamlining the sign-up process, and just overall community because it's not so toxic. So I'm going to leave it there. Thanks.
All right, good stuff, Heather. And it is interesting to, like, they could have just added threads to the current Instagram, like just like they added
They
stories.
did, though. It was a functionality within Instagram itself, but then they took it away, and I believe they wanted to like make it its own standalone app, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and I mean, then it's smart, like you're saying, that you can transfer all the people. Brilliant, but business, just such a smart business model. Hey, pausing for a second. Elon Musk and Zuckerberg are talking about fighting in a cage. Did anybody see Zuckerberg's abs? I mean, the guy's got abs. I mean, how could you? You got put in some work on those abs, Tom. Go on.
I mean, abs aside, because I don't know that I would be like, oh, that guy's got a six pack. He could definitely kick some ass. I don't know that I would equate those two things for sure. But apparently, I heard this morning that he is training with an MMA fighter. And he's taken this whole thing seriously, and he genuinely seems like, anyway, at least, you know, the public perception that they're putting out is that he wants to do it. And I got to tell you, I'm there for it. Like, I'm not going to pay pay-per-view and like put extra money in either one of those guys' pockets, right? But would I watch clips and enjoy the hell out of watching them fight each other? Absolutely. 100%. I would totally dig that. I would laugh my ass off. I think it would be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Zuck seems to be in. Let's see if Musk can get his mom on board and get her permission to fight him, and actually maybe live up to his taunting. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't know. Did you hear that, Dom, about Elon's mom?
No, I haven't. When I used to get in fights, my mom was always so disappointed in me. So go on, Tom. I do not know about.
On Twitter, Elon's mom, I'm gonna find it in a minute because I'm sure it's still there somewhere, or somebody screenshotted it. But on Twitter, Elon's mom told him he's not allowed to fight her or fight Zuck. Yeah, he's not allowed to fight him.
Well, probably because maybe the mom saw the abs. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. His mom said no, bad boy, which is pretty hilarious.
Hey, I'm joining that cycle. I would be there too. And in a few weeks, me and my dad and my daughter and my son, we're going to Dallas. We're going to see Jake Paul. I'm entering the YouTube world. We're going to see Jake Paul fight Nate Diaz. So who knows? So I'm in. Tristan, okay, this is not the smartest guys in the room. Don't let us go too long or we can be talking about a lot of crazy things. That's how this room goes. But weigh in on your thoughts on threads or AI or any of the subjects we've been talking on. Go on, my man.
Yeah, definitely not feeling the smartest one in the room, but always happy to share with you guys and girls and people in the room. It's all good. I've sort of been liking it. I feel a little bit split personalities on threads, and one of my things is just leaving it lie a little bit, like doing messages and things, but reserving a proper thoughts for it for a month or so's time, just to see whether people get bored of it and stop using it. The sense of I've got a load of Twitter people that it was really exciting to first connect with them 10, 20 years ago when Twitter was young, and we'd get into parties and go to meetups and meet after work at different things and meet a load of people randomly because of the connection on Twitter. And so some of those people have been having these sort of smaller conversations again, because when you're only following a couple of hundred people, you can notice those conversations and things don't fly by with just people commenting on the news or other random stuff. And then another group of people on there that obviously I've followed because they're Instagram people and I like their photos. And then I'm just going to give them a moment before I decide whether to unfollow them or not, because just because I like your photography doesn't necessarily mean I want to have a chat with you. So it's a sort of wait and see a little bit. So that's my feeling. That's my feelings on it. But I'll let it go round and then come back and see if we've got some more comments on or chats on this.
Tristan, you make a good point about seeing other people's content. Like I said before about I'm like, hey, I've been following this person for 6 months and they don't follow me. But your point there is like sometimes there's so much stuff in a thread. Like I'll work with authors and they'll be starting their social media or something, and they'll be like, so and so didn't like my post, or they're looking at the likes and looking who liked it and things like, and they're like, well, and I have to explain to them that, well, like only 5% of your audience are probably seeing your post, or 10%, unless they're going to you specifically and scrolling up through your things, through your feed. So that 5 or 10%, it's not bad. All this stuff, I believe that you have to look at it as a distribution platform. You have your content. It's one more platform to get your stuff out. The whole world is not going to see it. You put out your you put out your content. It's like direct mail or something. People don't open it. They didn't get it. The mailman didn't make it to their house, whatever. Same thing. You put out your content and some people find it, some people don't, but you can't take it so hard. Now, sorry for the bad segue, but I see Sells Legend, Mr. Selling with Dignity back on Clubhouse for this special moment. Harry Spate. So what do we owe this? And I'm hearing Harry might be in Chicago in February too. But Harry, what do we owe this moment in time where Harry Spate is in a room with us as well? Go on, brother. Man, nothing. It's probably a Harry bot.
Hey! I forgot how to use the mic.
Go on, Harry.
Oh man, the pressure was on. Hey, it's great to be here. Let's see. So you guys are talking about threads, and I'll just say real quick that I am not worried about numbers of followers simply because I heard Gary Vee one time yell at somebody about the people in the world who lack clean water, and you're worried about the number of followers you have. So that kind of put it in perspective for me. I am a big Gary Vee fan. If I have 1,000 clients in life, I probably will do pretty well. So look at the tens of thousands of people that are around you and say, do I have 1,000 people I can have a conversation with that like me, that I like them? And I just put it all in perspective. We're here for a short while. I love what Tom said. And so I'm here because there's good people in this room, and I'm happy to be part of the group. So thanks for having me.
Tom's shaking his head. He's just agreeing. He's just happy to have some Harry Spate back in his life. And this is one of those moments where I like to say, like, if you haven't connected with everybody in the room or on their thread or their TikTok, what is connected? Twitters and Instagrams are connected in people's bios a lot of times. So get in there and connect with them and see if Harry Spate is as legit as I say and Tom says. A great guy. If you haven't connected with Julie or Tristan or Heather, Carrie, connect with them. It will be worth your time. So, all right, not the smartest guys in the room. We got Carrie. Carrie, what's going on with you today? Share some thoughts.
Hi, Dom. So I'm on Threads. I love being first to market. I definitely think that's important. And what I like about it is that Clubhouse came back. And I'm all about community. I love Clubhouse. I was sad when it kind of took a dip. But it seems like people are talking about it and people are back. And I'm here for the ride. We'll see what happens.
Interesting. Carrie, why do you think that something like that made Clubhouse come back? And why do you think it took a dip?
I think everyone had to go back to work. But I've made really good friends here. And I'm really happy that a lot of people are back and listening and trying to figure out what's happening on Threads. And I think we just have to wait it out. But I think if you connect and like people's posts, and it's the same thing as Clubhouse, you build trust, right? We come every Wednesday, and it's going to be a slow process, I think, but it's definitely interesting. It's a new thing. I wasn't on Twitter, so this is all new. The short content. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think if we talk about it and support each other, it will be interesting to see.
Interesting take. And what's very interesting is Carrie saying she wasn't on Twitter, and so it is unique, completely unique. If you've never been on Twitter, if you've been on Twitter, you see a lot of similarities there, and you're like, "Whoa, is this this the same? Is this the same kind of concept there?" But what I wonder for all of you is as you have so much time in the day, where you're like, "Oh, one more app, maybe I'll make an app that's just like Facebook, or I should invent that, but it'll be called Book." But anyway, if there, with all these apps, is it conceivable that an audio app, like Clubhouse is audio? So I can do the audio app. At times I'm not able to be pushing buttons on my phone. You know, I can sit here and listen to you guys. I was in a room the other day, and Julie was having a room with our friend 7-2, the architect, and they were just doing like a pre-room before the room. And I was busy doing something, but their pre-room before the room there was a lot going on. It was complete entertainment. And because I was still able to do something else and listen, social audio worked for me. If I had to be on Threads or something else at that time, it wouldn't have worked. So something to think about. All right. Not the smartest guys in the room. We're here every Wednesday. Oh, one of our dear friends, John. You know, John's about to hit a million downloads or something. I heard that the other day. John, give us some tips on how to get from one. You go 1 to 1,000, then we can jump to 1 to 1,000,000. Go on, John.
First of all, I am on Threads, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all. Get ready to go on air and do my radio show, music radio show in just a moment. So I'm on, when people talk about social media platforms, the main reason, the only reason I am on social media platforms is to expose more people to my content, to get more consumers of the podcast version of my show. It is not to establish friendships. I got friends in real life. I got my family in real life. I don't have enough time to spend with them. So everything's designed towards that. I'm a publisher. I'm not there to engage, make friends. As a matter of fact, I just sent out an email newsletter to about 22,000 people. I think I know 3 people on that list. There's nothing about that email that was for let's connect and be buddies. I'm just saying, know my reason for being there. So when you talk about social media, the number one platform for me is Facebook. It always has been. Instagram is a different purpose, but I post on. You ready for the list? And I'm sure I'm short some of them. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn newsletter, Gab, MeWe, Codius, Write Only, Tribal, Clubhouse in the houses, Breakout. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. And the reason why is I want people that are there, whatever small percentage there are, to see my content and have a chance to respond to my content. And the end goal is to get them to click a link and listen and consume some of my show. And hopefully they find it worthwhile and they listen to a bunch more. So it's all about audience. And secondly, those numbers are not so much about, people use the term vanity numbers, is not so much about the numbers, but when I have conversations with advertisers and sponsors, they do care. They do care that you're on these platforms and they'll get exposure and reach to these people. And it can mean the difference between getting $50 or $5,000 for you. So it does matter. So what I'm going to close is just say, know your purpose for doing this. My purpose is very simple. It is to get people to consume my content and to become, number one, aware of my content, know the brand, know what it offers. And if they decide to consume it, great. If they don't, that's fine too. But my end goal is top of mind awareness. And I do have some checks. I will pay for a check if they will increase my reach. If they don't increase my reach, I don't care about paying for a check for validation purposes. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Good stuff, man. John's always got some great feedback, and I listen to him half the time. I'm scribbling and writing stuff down as he's talking because I'm like, man, that's a good idea. I should be doing that. So, John, thank you. Especially, hey, John, just while we're here, because there's some new people here, will you give us a quick, how do you title your rooms and why do you title them the way you do? I think that's important for people.
Oh, well, the number one thing is to start with what's in it for the consumer. So you want to attract people, and this applies to podcast title episodes, the name of your show, the description of your show. Podcast, we'll use that as example in any content, blogs, whatever. Start with something that's going to appeal to your target audience. The 3 most important things, and we're creating content, is what is, for example, what is the name of your show or what is your blog about? Who is your audience is so important. And 3, what is in that episode for them that will appeal to them and attract them? So that's why I pay close attention to that. Thank you.
Right on, brother. We appreciate you. And that's just so important as people produce shows and produce podcasts and YouTube shows and all that. So I'd like to hear it from the guy approaching a million downloads syndicated in 100 different places. So go on, man. Thank you. Okay, now we almost need like music to play. We're going to my friend, like, well, you know, when Macho Man Randy Savage used to come out, or Ric Flair, that kind of music. The OG Neil Haley, my friend from Pittsburgh, back on Clubhouse. He's all over Threads. Neil, you got some advice for us? What do you got going on, man?
Well, I'm going to give you just the basic, simple things. We're all thinking about content. Content's important, but really the importance is engagement. But let me just go give a shout out to some of the OGs like Heather. It's great to see you again. It's great to see you, Carrie. It's great to see you, John. I mean, it's amazing to see people that I know. Paul, my man, that stays up 24/7. He's back on Clubhouse, and you know, if I've not acknowledged anybody else, my goal right now, once I saw Threads, is I'm going to reestablish my relationship with the Clubhouse community. I left in December of 2021 and disappeared and made my radio show my Clubhouse. That's how I get business. That's how I interview. That's how I network. And I just do tons of podcasts, probably 15 or 20 a week, because I have 5 hours of radio programming, and I just build relationships and do things through my show. I create the content through my show. I do everything. But now I'm like, this is an opportunity. First to the party, as Dominick said. Speaking of a party, Clubhouse had a competitor called Green Room. I had so many gems and they took my gems away, but it was one of the greatest first to the party. I was there day one in the rooms, Green Room, jamming out to music, getting gems, and it was awesome. And we were playing team ball. Heather knows all about that because she's the OG of OGs. I can't even call myself an OG because what Heather did. Heather was in rooms with me, Clubhouse. Remember, like early morning Clubhouse rooms, Heather, every day. I was doing them for two
Dude,
hours.
like 4 a.m.
Yeah, like 4 a.m. and I was there, right? And then I had to go work my day because I had a day job and my business. And then I would go back at night. And then on the weekends, I'd live on Clubhouse. The bottom line is it's all about community. You know, everyone's talking about how you should post, how you do this. If people don't like you, they're not going to like your posts, okay? You want to build a relationship with people. It's starting square one when it comes to Threads, but it's also starting square one with Clubhouse. You know, come into Dominick's rooms, come into Heather's rooms, anyone that's running them, John's, but also go in the big rooms and give value. Follow everyone. Go into the comment sections and get in the big rooms and ask to come on stage and speak. And then just stay on stage. A lot of people think it's not good to just stay on a stage. That's not true. I gather followers all the time. I've gained, Heather, haven't you gained followers since you've been back? I don't know. Have you been on Clubhouse or did you just come back too?
No, I've been straight up on Club because I work from home. I have my own office, so like I've been on Clubhouse every day, listening podcast style or being on stages. But yep, I love Clubhouse.
Yeah, well, I needed my community back. So my whole theme is Clubhouse and Threads family, and then it hopefully will grow to the media giant family. Again, I'm a legitimate 6'10". If people didn't know this, I'm a former professional wrestler. If you see my thread right now posted, it was with some huge disc jockey from Pittsburgh that was my tag team partner, and I threw him off the top rope down, and I said, and I tagged all my clients and friends, telling them specifically enough, let's play tag team on Threads. It's all about team ball. That's the same thing in the days of Facebook. You know, people are saying, well, this is like Twitter. No, it's like Facebook back in the day. It was just text content. I think Threads, if you guys would handle it right, is it's a text-based app. They're going to do other things, but I think Zuckerberg wants it to be a text-based app. So you need to just interact with people, interact with brands, interact with other people, and then if they like your content, you get social cred. People start following you back. You can follow as many people as you want right now. We'll find out what happens in that situation, but you're able to develop relationships and then use Clubhouse to grow your threads. Go in the big rooms, go in John Lee's room, go in Gary Henderson's room, and just give value and you'll get followers. But you have to be all in if you're first to the party. Bottom line, Heather was all in and she's an OG. I was semi all in and then I left. But ultimately, first to the party, all in. That's what I was with Green Room, and this is what I'm going to do in Threads. because you never know what can happen. One thing that Neil Patel talks about all the way is the creator economy. Once you become a influencer creator, you can sell a service or a product and make lots of money. It's about followers are important if they're real followers, if they're real engagement, if people really like you and you build 100 fans, 1,000 fans, 10,000 fans. I did this on Clubhouse. My other social media platforms, yeah, they're real people, but are they engaging with me enough? No. And I took a step back and listened to things. So remember, it's all about engagement. It's all about building relationships. And if they like your content, they're going to like your content. So if anyone's not following me, I'm going to follow you back. Make sure you follow all the moderators on this platform. And it's value. People are here spending their time to give you value. And that's the most important thing. And I see replays are on, Dominic, so that's a good thing that people can hear all those different things. But let me give you some quick tips on threads. First thing you do is a good morning post. If you don't know any content that's out there, give a good morning post and basically engage with other people and look at their posts. And when they engage with you, they're going to come back and engage with you. Then you start building that out and then maybe throw a picture in, maybe throw a video in, but quit selling, guys. It's not time to sell yet. Maybe, and I want to see what the numbers are, what Zuckerberg's doing when it comes to specifically traffic to websites. How good is traffic developing? Heather, are you seeing any numbers yet of people that are posting links, and are they getting any more traffic to threads?
I mean, but here's so there's two instances, I guess, because you can post your link in there, right? But then you can repost that thread to your Instagram story or your feed. And then if you click on the story or what's in the feed, it takes you back to threads, which means that there's like a hierarchy, right? Because it's like they're all linked together. So if you put a link, that's the closest we're going to get to link in post, in my opinion, is that if you put a link in a threads post, which I've done before, I quoted my TEDx talk and I put my TED.com link in there. I shared it over to my stories. I can click on the story. It says go back to threads. So let's say you're looking at it, Neil, and then you click on it. You can go back to threads, read the post within threads, and then click on the link. So, I mean, there's no analytics right now, but I'm utilizing it definitely by adding links because, dude, if there's clickable links, use clickable links.
But are you seeing less engagement, Heather, on those posts?
No, not at all. I don't think I'm seeing less engagement at all. I mean, I think I'm probably seeing more because people are like, oh my God, I just watched your TEDx talk on TED.com and I've never watched it before. So, I mean, I think the organic reach is going to be higher and there's trust in it because we literally clicked on that threads to apply, right? We went from our Instagram, pulled our followers to threads, and then there's more of like a trust factor. So if you put a link, I think people are more likely to click on it now than if you put a link in your IG stories or even a Facebook, to be honest with you.
All right, I got on my YouTube channel some basics of with a couple of clients involving Neil the Media Giant Haley. Search it. It's basics on threads, but the bottom line is if you don't want to post content, just post one thing a day and start engaging with the people you want to meet or your friends. The first thing I do when I'm on the news feed is I'm going ahead and engaging with all the people that I haven't seen in a while, like Manny Cabo and different people. And they pop up on my feed because the people are going to pop up on your feed most of the time are the people following you or you're following them. Then engage in their content. And then they're going to be so happy. And I've been hearing major brands are engaging in content. So, for example, Dominic, I engaged with Pittsburgh Post Gazette. I have more followers than they do already. So this is funny. So this is an opportunity to get noticed where you maybe never were noticed with a major brand. And if you go out there and engage and a relationship happens, here's a quick tip. Look at people who are on LinkedIn that you want to talk to. And because, LinkedIn, no one's checking their DMs like they used to. I mean, their messages. Go and see if they're on threads and engage with them on threads. Maybe tag them and they'll say, what the heck's going on here? You're getting them to notice you. And this is like a message, guys. You can have a conversation on here. You don't have to DM because there's no DMs. So start commenting and saying, hey, let's connect. Let's have a virtual coffee like I taught Dominic. Right, Dom?
You were the man, buddy. OG.
So you do that with threads now. So imagine the major brands you can connect with. Imagine. So I've been asking people on my podcast, And it's like, oh, and they're like, yes, but Clubhouse, it all starts with Clubhouse. If you want to have most success on Threads, you got to be on Clubhouse. You got to be in Heather's rooms. You got to be in Dominick's and Tom's room. You got to be in John's room. You got to be in the big rooms and get yourself noticed, because guess what? You're starting first to the party, and that's it. Dominick, you want me to add anything more components to what I've seen in Threads?
You're shot out of a cannon, Neil. You hang out. We're gonna roll around, but we appreciate you, man. So not yet. Keep those gems, man. I might come back to you. Tom, did you want to add something there?
No, man. We got so much information from Neil there and Heather. I think incredibly valuable. I'm of the same mind. I'm actually what I'm really enjoying about Threads is, it kind of feels a little bit like a do-over. I was never really engaged in Twitter, and I was so late to the game there, so late to the party, that I didn't really get a chance to sort of grow with the platform. And so I think for me, like, what's really fun about Threads is it really feels new to me, because I've never really engaged on a platform like Threads before. And I'm just having a good time tossing out thoughts and ideas and things that pop through my head. I've got a crazy brain that's going in a million directions at all different times. So I'm just popping on there periodically and throwing out a couple of things that pop into my head, and having some fun with it and scrolling through and seeing what other people are saying. So I'm enjoying it, so far, and we'll see where it goes. But for me, my focus is really on I'm still doing my vlogs, obviously, trying to get back on the horse with those, and then this space and doing this live stream with you every Wednesday with all of these great people every Wednesday. That's really my focus now that we're on so many different platforms simultaneously with this.
Spot on, brother. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room. Johnny, you signing up for a new platform? What are you doing, man? Are you on it? You moving on it, or are you saying no? I've had enough. What do you got for us?
Good morning, friends and foes. This is John Pica, the prophet of pop culture. You can call me Johnny. And yes, I am an early adopter. I got on Threads first day, posted a couple things, felt like Twitter. I got bored, and I haven't been back since. I know everyone's saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I hated Twitter. I was on Twitter, but I wasn't engaged on Twitter. For me, every bit of my business revolves around Facebook and building connections and promoting through Facebook. And so I'm kind of bored by Threads. I don't know. I'm there, but I don't see what the big deal is. I don't know what the big hoopla is. It's just a shiny new toy that is going to eventually lose its shine, rust, and probably be thrown in the garbage.
There you go, Johnny. That's a hot take. And to Johnny's point, it is very similar of other apps. I mean, like sometimes an app will give you something completely new. I don't know that I've seen, and has somebody seen something completely new on that app yet that hasn't been done to this point? I would ask, like, seriously, is there something completely new being done over there? I don't know. So let's continue. We'll leave that as a rhetorical question. All right, forget it. Now we're going to go to Chris, but first, we live stream this. We live stream it a bunch of places. I'm keeping it simple today. Every week I show something from my vault of things that make me smile. Last week I showed this Michael Jackson cup that Tom enjoyed looking at.
So weird. So weird.
Hey, man. Today I am just sharing a simple baseball signed by Jay Bell. This is a baseball I caught at a Pirate game one time. I've tried to catch a ball 1,000 times. This is one when I was little, caught the ball. Now I think when you catch a ball, though, I think if any adult catches a ball, they have to give it to a kid. It seems like the kids just like run over. A couple of years ago, I was at a game with a buddy. It was a doubleheader, second half of the game. Second half of the doubleheader, like balls are coming over like crazy, bouncing in the area because it's like 5 hours. I think there was a rain delay. All of a sudden, some little kid took out my shins. A ball came right my way. I was about to reach for it, and he took me out. And then my buddy picked up the ball. But I do wonder if nowadays you have to give the ball away. But this was my ball, and then my mom took me to a McDonald's, and we met Jay Bell, and that's where he signed it. Okay, moving on. That's my story. Sticking to it. Foul ball caught. Okay, Chris, what do you got for us? Weigh in on all things. Weigh in on Threads. Weigh in on AI. Weigh in on a little motivation from Tom. What do you got for us, my friend?
Well, I am learning about Threads. I actually joined it this morning, right here in this room. So when I clicked on one person's link, it shows me to follow all. I did. Then people started following me back. So I started learning about it here this morning. I have not been on it other than today, but I look forward to seeing what it's going to do. And, I'm thankful just for, I know I'm not the smartest one in the room here. I'm on total learning mode. So I've been trying to listen and pay attention, but now I have to be intentional and get on my podcast at 9:30 Central Time. So I want to thank you for having the room. I look forward to coming back.
Hey, Chris, give us a plug away before you don't need to thank us. We want to know the name of the podcast. What do you got?
It is called DIY Housing TV on Blog Talk Radio. And we are going to be starting new communities across the nation every month from now on. I'm working on a 41-acre project right now in Georgia that is going to be a music venue, an art venue, also have a veterans community and a community for abused women. And it is to bring awareness and fundraise as we implement the solution to end the homeless problem and the hunger problem across the world. So we are starting here in the U.S., but we are working in 57 countries right now with one of my partners, and they have built over 1 million homes in the past 10 years. And now we're going to scale up and do 30 million homes in the next 7 years. So everybody has an opportunity to get involved. And we also have a passive solar greenhouse that grows fish, vegetables, and mushrooms. And that is free for anybody's. The patents on that are free for your personal use and intellectual use. Anybody that does it commercially will have to pay. But here comes the money to keep us moving forward to give away again. So thank you.
Hey, Chris, man, that sounds like good work. Good luck on the show, and good looking out with all the trying to feed some people and home some people. Everybody deserves that kind of
Dom,
dignity.
I wanted to chime real quick. Chris,
yeah, go ahead.
I just sent you a message. I have an opening today at 4:30 Eastern if you want to jump on with my co-host. Eastern. Just go ahead and email me, neilhaley@neilhaley.com, and I'll send you the email. So this is the thing, Dominic. I book guests. I'm back on Clubhouse. It's really easy. Bam. That's the power of Clubhouse. Back to you.
I agree 100%. And I always thought for podcasters, what a great place, Clubhouse, where people want to use their voice. Here's an app where people have a story like Chris, and they want to use their voice. So if you're looking for guests or have a show, wow, perfect segue. Thanks, Neil. Let's keep this rolling. Okay, rolling. Looks like a song. What? Rolling. But there's got to be a cooler song. All right, let's go. Our buddy Charlie Cifarelli. Charlie, you got 3 pictures in 1 picture now. It's overload, man. There's 2 Charlies and a star. That's good stuff.
Thanks, Dominic. Hello, everybody. I'm glad I got a little buffer between me and Neil, man. He's on fire. I actually had to go outside and do a few cannonballs in the pool. I felt that fired up listening to talk about Threads. I'm a late bloomer. I was late to MySpace, and by the time I got it working, it was done. And of course, I never got rolling with Twitter, and I just never bothered with it. I just didn't see the value in that. But what I did get involved with is I figured out I have to have something worthy for people to be attracted to want to hear or spend time in my space or see what my posts are about. I did really well on LinkedIn because I was in the recycling business when it was taken off. I already was in it. I was in the trash business. And there were so many people and so many businesses that wanted to know about how do you recycle glass? What do you do with plastics, cardboard? And then, of course, I got involved with recycling glass to make countertops. And it was a time that I'd get up in the morning and I'd literally have 70, 80, 90 new followers or invite to connect to me on LinkedIn, which was really good. And I found the value in that. So going forward now, I don't know so much about threads, but we talked about this a few segments ago. I got really involved with TikTok. I felt it was a real platform. You couldn't buy likes, you couldn't buy content. And I grew a really big TikTok platform. And then they got me for violation that I had turned over and won the violation. Then I posted it back and boom, they knocked it off. And I was crying in my Cheerios. So then I circled back and I've been working on my own website and I've been back in the community doing things that are worthy. And I find when I do things that are worthy, people find me. I mean, I would have never even had a Twitter account, but I did have a Twitter account. And there was an article written about a dog that I rescued, and I had all these followers overnight. And then I abandoned that Twitter account, didn't bother with it, started a new one, and never did nothing with it. Right now, I'm focused on this grassroots effort with this production company with a documentary on my dog story. So that's been my focus. But I have to think about where is the traffic going to go? Where is the traffic if people like what I have presented and they like my message and they want to get involved? How do they find me? Do I want to start threads or do I want to stick with a Facebook group that I grew organically that's 6 figures? I probably would stick with that. I don't know at this point if I'm going to get involved with threads. And I didn't like Twitter. I just couldn't catch on to it. But that shouldn't take away from anybody else's zeal to do something. Um, and I don't know, I can't get involved in politics. I'm a spiritual guy. I just can't get involved. And I hear a lot of people on Facebook. It gets to be uh, so much talk about. I can't do that. I can't do that. I am here by the light of the day, and I got to be there. So that's what I have to say, Dominic, on that. But I am busy, and I'm busy with my book. I do better with my book on my own website because it's a grassroots effort. People meet me and they, say, "Hey, how do I get a hold of your book?" And I send them to my website rather than Amazon. And lastly, I want to say this is that Clubhouse, although I hear people say it's not as good as it was, I love Clubhouse. I've made real life friends from Clubhouse. And I think that it's so much more authentic than any other platform because we get to hear each other. And we then can message or get a hold of people when the room closes. Hey, you doing okay? Or I like what you said. Or do you need help? I don't feel that same type of cohesiveness on Instagram. Definitely not on Instagram. And definitely not in other places. So that's it. I'm going to drop my mic right about there and I'll continue to listen.
Charlie, thanks, man. And I think we all would agree, or I spent 20 years in sales. I was in yellow paid sales. I actually used to bid jobs landscaping for my dad. Then I was in insurance sales and pharmaceutical sales, and I've sold thousands and thousands of books one by one at networking events, at retiree groups, at lunch groups, at after hours groups, at Wednesday night groups, at Sunday morning groups. I think if we can get out, like Neil mentioned, those virtual cups of coffee, but if we can get out and meet those people, like me and Charlie hung out. We each drove 3 hours and hung out, and really took the relationship to another level. So get out and have those conversations. Go on, Neil. What do you want to say? He just popped off. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. No. Oh, hold on a second. You guys hear me?
Yeah, man, we hear you. What are you doing? You've been off Clubhouse
Twitter
too long.
won't even work. Oh, Twitter's down, guys. Check your Twitters. Everyone's Twitter's down.
Interesting, because we've been working on. I keep a live Twitter feed on my website, and it just shows up like on the side of my. It shows up embedded post in my website. And today I was working with my friend who does the website for me, and I was like, Twitter's not showing. My posts aren't showing on the side, and she said, there's a lot of things going on with it now.
So it just happened now. It just happened about 5 minutes ago. All the feed disappeared. Heather, do you see that happening?
I'm on it, and I literally just saw a post from Hank Green 3 minutes ago that says Twitter kind of broken for anybody else, but I'm seeing tweets.
Yeah, we're seeing tweets, but everything that is, did you pay for the verification? Because maybe they knocked everyone non-verified
Absolutely not.
out.
I will not be giving money to Elon Musk. Thank you very much.
What if Elon decided to pull the plug on everybody that's not verified, all of their content?
Word, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll be just fine. I'll be just fine.
Not me. I got 55,000 on one Twitter account and 36 on the other. This is killing me.
but what we come on, man. We talk about this a lot of times where like take it all away, strip it all away, strip the media, strip the money, strip whatever, and you would be just fine. People would find
yes, but no one wants to see me strip.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good
And that's
point.
why, and I just want to say one thing, that's why I always preach omnipresence, because you never know. Twitter could blow up. Like right now, like it's down, I guess, for people. And so that's why omnipresence, definitely.
100%. Digital omnipresence is super key. And Twitter, I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when Twitter blows up. Like Twitter is circling the drain. The canary in the coal mine has gone silent. It's happening. It's on its last legs. I don't know how many other euphemisms I can come up with, but Twitter is about to crash, right? There's no one at the controls. So yeah, it's omnipresence is 100% key.
Tristan, go on. Tristan, and we're going to go to Heather. So Tristan, go on.
Not to forewarn too many things, because hey, maybe it does bend to the ground and it comes back in or something. But they definitely have been playing with limits. Like for the last couple of weeks, many people have had, they can see 600 tweets and then it pauses out because they're trying to tweak the algorithms to stop people scraping Twitter and not paying them their very expensive new fees. And I'm guessing that's something like that's what's happened. They've tweaked it in a bad way and crashed something, because I'm getting half of Twitter. But back to you on the other topic.
Someone's going to start a room, Tristan. Get ready. Like remember the Facebook room, Heather? I went back to Clubhouse a couple months later, and it was like when Facebook crashed, there was almost like 3,000 people in one room on Clubhouse. What will
Yup, I remember that. And
I think it's coming. Oh man!
Hey, why don't you start it, Neil? Start it after this room.
No, you started, Heather. I'll mod with you. Okay.
That's been an issue in the past, though. Twitter tends to be up when everything else is down. So Twitter tends to be site you go to when a big site is down to say, is it down? Is anyone else seeing it down? But this week it's been Clubhouse. Hey, a new site's up, a new site's down. Everyone come to Clubhouse and talk about it.
And Tristan, Twitter has, from day one, when the plane landed in the Hudson, has been somewhat of a news source. And when it gets away from that instant news, and that's where it took off. When Sully was landing in the Hudson, people in New York City knew about it before anybody else, and they were able to. So here was an app that was almost, I don't know if it was fledgling before that point, but that's what made it take off. So go on, Tom.
Well, I was just going to say one more thing in response to what Tristan was saying about the tweak of the algorithm to limit how many views people, or how many tweets people were able to see, verified versus unverified, checkmark versus non-checkmark. That's, Twitter is saying that's what they were doing, is that they were trying to limit data scraping or eliminate data scraping. But then also there have been some issues with Twitter not paying their bills and getting booted off of Google servers. And the day after Google's deadline to shut down their servers, that Twitter was using as part of their cloud space. That's when this limit came out. So timing is a little coincidental. There's no way to know for sure, but Twitter saying it's to eliminate data scraping, but when you're trying to earn at least $1 billion a year to service the loans that you took out to buy the platform, I think it's probably, and you're trying to do that through advertising revenue, it's probably a bad idea to limit people's ability to look at posts on the platform. It seems a little bit counterproductive. So I don't think it was by choice. I think it was by necessity. I should say that again. I don't think it was by Twitter's choice. I think it was someone else making the choice for them, and then they're trying to spin it in a positive direction. That's what it smells like to me.
Yeah, there you go. It might be fee only pretty soon. Just people talking. Heather Devine, what do you got?
Dominic, would that be the biggest, craziest thing that happened if you decided to just pull the plug, and if you're not verified, you're no longer on Twitter?
I mean, fee only. It seems like that may be the way to go. I'll charge everybody $20 a month, and we'll have a community where we can say whatever the hell we want, and nobody, I think that's probably their best bet at this point.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Elon tries that, but that might be like the last grasp as envision Twitter as a drowning, that blue bird is drowning, and it's the last image of the wing above the surface of the water that you see before it completely submerges. That's what I think the pay only platform is like the last grasp, the tip of the wing sinking below the waves, right at the end of Twitter. That's what I think that would signal, personally.
And can I just say really quick, I'm really sad about the downfall of Twitter. I've been on there for 14 years. I've met so many awesome people in my local community on Twitter. Like my teacher, who was my teacher at Advanced Social Media for Business at University of Delaware, I met her on Twitter first. And when I walked into the room, I was like, I know you. And she was like, I know you. And like, we realized that we've been talking on Twitter for over a freaking decade. Like, I'm going to be sad when Twitter's gone. And it's really sad to see the downfall, because it used to be an awesome place for news, for like connecting with people in your local. And now it's just a mess. So yeah, I'm just sad. So RIP Twitter. I'll miss you. I love you, but it's just very sad.
That would be a good room. All right, RIP Twitter. So
you know how much that would be great. You think that first the party now is good? Imagine if everyone from Twitter moves over to Threads.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Like Tom said, the birds. Tom's really smiling about that. The bird's wing is half down. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, come on. Let's.
Yeah, Twitter is sinking beneath the waves for sure. And I agree, Heather. I think it is sad. I think it's sad. I wasn't personally invested in the platform, but I think it's sad because at the end of the day, it didn't have to happen, right? It's all because it's really, I think, genuinely, we are where we are because of hubris, right? Like, and one particular person's hubris kind of leading us down that, leading the platform down that path. Yeah, that's I think at the end of the day, I think that's the root cause of Twitter's demise.
Oh, there we go. Not the smartest guys in the room. Let's go to Heather Devine. What say you on all this? Marketing, branding expert, love community leader. I wondered if they're love community leader. Go on, Heather.
Hi, how's everybody? This is a great conversation. First of all, I followed Heather in here. She's fabulous. Hi, Heather Cups. Yeah, I just like Heather, I would actually be sad if Twitter is gone. Not in the state that it is now, obviously, but like the nostalgia of it, because I was on there, I think 12 years now on my personal account. And then, when I started my business and my nonprofit about 8 years ago, I definitely joined as like, having a Twitter account, and like I've always believed in the model of Twitter, but very much like how I'm enthusiastic about Threads personally. I just like to adopt it and just kind of watch what happens, like interact with it differently. I'm not one to like want to repost the same thing over and over. I think people want to see unique things from you. They want something or maybe a little different flavor. So I'm sprinkling in some new things that you won't see on my Instagram into my threads, and I'm doing that on purpose. Or you could see some things potentially similar, but they're just worded differently or using different graphics or photos. I think that most of my followers on Instagram are not rolling into threads yet, and I think maybe because some people are late adopters, and that's okay. So I'm all right if people don't follow me right away. I never look at followers as necessarily, my clients, but they're prospective clients or people who I have worked before that are interested in following me and seeing where it goes. But yeah, I love Clubhouse. I love spaces like this, opportunities to meet people. I do actually have a free hugs room later today. So if you guys are interested in that, I know it's completely different from this
No,
conversation.
hold on. Now this is important. Break from this. This is what catches my attention because my short attention span. I want to know more about free hugs. So do tell.
Oh, I would love to, Dominic. So if you've never given out free hugs, or maybe seen a video on YouTube of someone giving out free hugs that makes you a little teary-eyed, it is the best thing I've ever done. So I did it now probably the past 6 years. And what I do, because I live in a town that's a little bit more touristy, so we've got a lot of people from China that come visit here. I live south of Yellowstone and near Grand Teton National Park. It's just a beautiful place. If you've never been, you should absolutely. There's always an open invitation for anybody to come out here. I've already had a couple of Clubhouse friends come out here, which is super fun. And get lunch with me and hang out and show them the mountains. But anyway, free hugs is basically I felt inspired because there was a mass shooting, and one of the victims family members who lost their brother to a mass shooting held up a free hug sign just shortly after the shooting, and I just felt so inspired, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if someone can open their heart and be vulnerable like that in public, then I can do it too. um, and so I have a nonprofit I started 8 years ago in response to a mass shooting. That's how it began. Very similar origin stories as far as feeling motivated to pour love back into community. And you can totally look into that for people spread love. But we encourage people to write notes of love to people facing adversity, just reminding people that they're not alone in this human stuff. Free hugs is just an extension of people spread love. It's just another way to just say, hey, I see you. If you need a hug, I'm here. And I will grab other community members to do the same. I have the sign in English, Mandarin, Spanish, French, and different languages, depending on what sign you hold, but they're all written with just like marker on a poster board. There's nothing sophisticated about it. We're not asking for money. We're just showing people and kind of jolting people out of being hypnotized of this life that we're like we're constantly like working, grinding, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all about abundance with money, but I also reminding people that we're only human and we're just fumbling through this human thing. So that's what free hugs is all about, and our clubhouse room is similar as far as like revealing humanity and getting to know each other. So yeah.
Heather, thank you. Sometimes I am glad I asked. I wanted to know about it, and you're doing good work out there. So keep it up. I was watching a video the other day. There was a guy sitting on the side of a race, and it might have even been an LGBTQ kind of race or something, or a march, and he had a sign up that said former bigot, former bigot, I'm learning, like offering hugs. And to see people leaving the walk or whatever it was and going over to the side and hugging this gentleman who was trying to make a difference or change, and like what you're doing, it was good stuff. So thank you. All right, let's roll. We meet in four. We got four more friends and then we're out. I used to, when I was in pharmaceuticals, I sold gout medicine at one point, and so I was really allowed to say out like the gout. So we got 4 more people to go. Make sure you are putting your threads in the side. We're going to try to follow everybody. Hey, why not? Early to the app. Let's get everybody some followers from a community that supports each other. So have at it. Dean's got a good look here. I don't know that I've met Dean. 3x startup business owner, digital marketers. Dean, what say you on all these subjects?
Oh, Dominic, I hadn't been back on Clubhouse with you and Tom in a while. Did you used to go by Dom, or has it always been Dominic?
I go by Dominic, whatever, man. So it's possible
Okay.
it was different. You're all good.
Well, my look's a little different. I had the long hair look last time, but anyway, what do I think about all this? I'm similar to Charlie. I don't really like discussing political BS, and I never really got into Twitter. Now I have gotten on Threads because of the extension through Instagram, and of course I followed this room. I got in this room because of Tom and Heather Cox, which I love Heather Cox code, and I don't know. I'm just listening, just trying to get a grasp about what's going on. I think the primary thing is uh, whoever's in the audience and whoever's up on stage, whatever your purpose is, you have to go to where your people are. So if that's whatever that is, I mean, if that's knocking door to door, standing out, holding a sign, whatever, you have to go to where your people are and find your tribe. And whatever your tribe is, you just need to engage and be part of it. And I think as long as you do that, you'll be just fine. Thanks.
Dean, you're on it today, brother. Heather Cox, since Dean said he loves you and you've been given such good input today, you want to respond?
I love Dean. So Dean and I hang out in the digital hospitality rooms every Wednesday and Friday here on Clubhouse at 1 p.m. EST. And I'm glad I got to see you today, Dean, because I have an appointment at 1:15, so I'll only be in the room for like 15 minutes today. But no, man, Dean's the man. Dean is like just chill peoples. He's really out to support, really out to connect with people. And I just think you're the bomb.com, Dean. So keep it up, man.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Dean. And so now we're going to meet Tiffany, and I see Tiffany's a fashion designer. And one of the things that I just want to mention here as we go to Tiffany, there's a lot of great ways to share your story. And it could be like Dean saying about finding your tribe. It could be, maybe it's through fashion, maybe it's through podcasting, maybe it's Clubhouse, maybe it's on Threads, maybe it's writing a book, maybe it's writing a screenplay. There's all these different ways, painting a picture, taking a picture, all these different ways to share your story. So get out and do it by whatever means necessary. And it seems like Tiffany's might be fashion. And it looks like she's got some kind of party hat on there. It doesn't look like it's a real hat. But go on, Tiffany, drop in. What do you got for us?
Laugh out loud. No, I have a degree in fashion, but I did interior design. So I'm in the arts, but I don't do that now. Now I'm doing my podcast, The Tiffany Taylor Show. It used to be Behind the JPEG, where I would interview NFT artists, which is really fun because I love arts. Anyways, so I changed it to Tiffany Taylor Show so I can do tech trends, innovation, new horizons. I love Elon. And what is the other? Oh, art, visionary art. So what is
okay.
the what
okay,
was the question you asked earlier?
What was the question?
About Twitter. That was a good one.
I'm missing the question. Go on. What was it again?
Earlier you asked a question about Twitter.
Yeah.
What was that one?
If I remember the question I asked, geez, I don't. I how could I remember the question? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I think what the one question I was asking is there anything original on Threads as opposed to Twitter? I don't know that answer. I mean, it could just be different marketing and things like that, but I don't know that answer. So, but that might not be the question. Go on, Tiffany.
Okay. What else do you want to know? I mean,
well, we're glad to have you here. So what we do, let me get this straight. In this room every week, we talk marketing, we talk publishing, we talk inspiration. So today, conversation's been about threads a lot. We wanted to talk AI, but people want to talk threads today. So, and we were talking about building communities like that. So if any of those things or anything else is your expertise, have at it. If not, we appreciate you being here. Go on.
Okay. I don't think anybody's an expert, right, at threads, but I can say what works. I don't know. I really don't. But communicating, and it seems like it's growing slower than at first, because at first, whoever you'd follow would just follow you and your bell would just go bing, 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 bing. But now it's like so slow. But so it's like a slow growing community. So I just think comment, comment. But I'm literally on there all the time, though. It's hard to get off. That's it. I don't know what else to say.
All right, fair. It's addictive. Put your link, anybody, put your thread in the side. If you haven't, put it in the side. If you already did, put it in again. Okay, share the room, share the replay, whatever you got. All right, my man, Jason. Jason, I was talking about you before because I was saying that social audio is one of these things where even if you've got something else going on, you might be able to do social audio. The other day, I was getting ready for an appointment and jumped in one of your rooms, and you were just preparing for a room, and I thought it was fabulous. It was entertaining. You were doing your thing. So we're talking about threads, but if you want to talk Clubhouse, go on. You got carte blanche here, my man. Go on.
Well, I think that that's awesome. No, I was getting ready for the big idea. We hold a room here on Clubhouse, and it's going to be a podcast and YouTube and all that great stuff. So if people want to join, that's cool. But what I was thinking about was like, how are we really best utilizing all these different network avenues? That's what it is. So threads, Twitter, whatever it is, Clubhouse, are you really getting the full benefit, and are you using it, or are you just wanting to use it to get lost for a while? I think a lot of people want to make impacts and do something, but then there's always like a shroud. There's either people who are just completely open, honest, and like, this is what I do, here I am, I have nothing to hide. And then there's people, it's like, look, I work with sensitive materials, and they still want to be themselves, but the environments are kind of critical, and social medias and social audios can expand your horizons and creativity. So um yeah, it's all great stuff. I mean, I'm just more curious about who's enjoying threads, because I just look at it and I'm like, it looks like chaos. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people I don't know, and it looks kind of cool, but I'm like, it's is it because it's the shiny new thing? So I'm not jumping on so quick. I do post here and there, but I want to post things that make impacts that people would engage with. So I'm kind of just sitting on the fence with it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
Hey, okay, but now let's go back. Jason, tell us about the room, the big idea, what you got going on, because you stream it. You're streaming it, and then you've got multiple levels going on. So what's the process?
Well, equipment wise, I mean, just like what Tom does with your guys' show on YouTube, you can see who's in the room. I'm working that out and perfecting that. So I figured out the RTMPs, which is basically a stream source. So I use that. Like the other day, I was doing Breakout, which our brand is leaving Breakout because it's just a dead network. But we were doing Clubhouse, we were doing StreamYard, and we were trying to figure out when we get our stations developed for YouTube and Twitter Spaces, we'll go and do that. So, that's just been like, let's get the most amount of viewers, listeners, and create super fans. Like, that's all I'm interested in. I'm only interested in super fans. I mean, it's great if you want to follow me, but I want to be an essential part of your network. Like, if you think about all the people you're connected to and through social media, who's a doer for you? Who's really going to spread your brand? Like me, I'll talk about your guys' show, and I'll share it with specific people of mine that could come in here, have a good time, and then leave out with like, you know what? I like that morning show. And I think that's really what more people are looking for, a trusting environment where they're like, look, I don't have to put on the fancy face or the shroud, but I could just be here and listen to inspiring, activating questions and thought processes. And I do the same with my podcast and show and house, which is called My Stoic Circus. So next week I'll be starting my regular rooms about thought-provoking questions that get people active, because I don't want experts, I only want doers.
That's a good take, man. Not experts, just doers. Make it happen, man. Good stuff. All right, it is that time. Let's see here. We got not the smartest guys in the room. We do this every Wednesday. My attention span is about less than 2 hours, somewhere in that game. But we got Dr. Tachi in the house. So before Dr. Tachi is a media doer. So before we get to Tom for our wrap up, we've had a lot of new friends, old friends here today. It's good to see. But Dr. Tachi, you want to drop in on a thought on threads or media or whatever Dr. Tachi feels like talking about, because that's how much we like Dr. Tachi. Go on.
Good morning. Yeah, so threads, it's interesting so far. I am enjoying it. I am a Twitter user because I'm also a journalist, and that's a big tool that journalists use. I think that people have to remember that it's new, and I'm waiting to see. It's great, but number one, you have inheritance factor because of the fact that most of the people are from Instagram, and many Instagram users were not also Twitter users. So I'm looking and saying, how long is it before this is not the pretty shiny thing anymore and people stop using it? The people who are not into microblogging, because that's what Twitter is. It's microblogging. So if that's not your thing and you're not into it, eventually it might wear off, but it might stick. We don't know. So we'll see. I keep hearing from people, oh, well, Meta finally got something right. I'm like, okay, well, they had a little bit of help because they already had. Yeah, I mean, the hell, you better have 100 million users, because you have a lot of people that use Instagram. So it's not a good look if these people don't transfer over to the new product you have. So not to belittle, but it's like, okay, there's a little bit of inheritance factor. But I listened to Mario Armstrong, who does a lot of work with social media and branding, etc. So he was talking about the fact of using threads, which is interesting. And I kind of agree with this, that threads should not just be a regurgitation of what you already do on Instagram, that for it to work well, you need to find an additional use case for it and make that what you do. It doesn't mean you can't post some of the same things, but to just post everything that you do on Instagram, that's not necessarily what it's for. He also said that you don't have to automatically follow everybody you follow on Instagram, because what you're trying to do is create a new experience. Maybe you're not, but if you are, and you just follow everybody that you did from Instagram, it's the same thing. It's basically the same algorithm. So I found that interesting when he said that, and I kind of agree. I think it depends on the experience you want to have. Maybe you want something fresh and new and to reach out to new people. In that case, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense to just blindly follow everybody. Create the app or the experience that you wanted to have. So that's what I would end with. But I am enjoying it so far.
Dr. Tachi, we appreciate your takes on things. Did you see that Tom is on Threads? Were you surprised by this take?
Was I surprised that Tom is on Threads?
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, he jumped right on.
I'm not surprised at all. He is a maverick. Come on, I'm the co-signer of the year on Tom.
That's right. That's where I was going. Mm-hmm. Got it. Hey, well, on that note, this is the time where I say I don't have 2 hours in my life, because I got short attention span, and I start moving around in my chair. And if you watch the live stream, you're probably wondering what's wrong with that guy. And then we turn to Tom and say, Tom, we talked about a lot. Can you wrap it up for us? Tell us what we should do. Is there a need to know after being in this room today?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things that have kind of been on my mind as I've been thinking about how to wrap this up, because we spent a lot of time talking about threads. We spent a lot of time talking about Twitter. And so to me, there's a couple of things that really, kind of stuck with me through this whole conversation. One is that, Heather brought up this idea of omnipresence. And I think I want to stress it again because I don't think I can stress it enough, how important digital omnipresence is. When you were talking about, Dom, how few of your followers, right? How few of your community on social media actually see your posts on a regular basis because of the way the algorithms are designed. That is, I think, a great argument for digital omnipresence. The more places you show up, the more likely you are to get in front of the people you want to get in front of, and to be able to build those relationships that we talked about with those people. I say all the time, I think, one of my sort of missions in life and in business is to humanize the world of business through better communications, right? Because I think going back to, as you mentioned, going back to the 80s and the era of GE's CEO, whose name is escaping me now. But you say it for me, Dom.
Jack Welch.
Yeah, Jack Welch. Going back to the 80s, to the era of Jack Welch and that style of leadership, right? Business has kind of been caught in this loop since then of looking at their customers, right, consumers, as sort of data points and dollars and cents. And I think ultimately, if you want to analogize it, what they really do is they see consumers as mini ATM machines, right? And what they do with their marketing and advertising and communication efforts is essentially button mash on those mini ATM machines, trying to get the right code to get money out of the ATM, right? Trying to hit the right sequence of numbers to get money out of the ATM. They're essentially guessing at what the PIN code is to figure out how to get money out of those ATMs. And I think it's incredibly important to stop thinking about the people who interact with us as business people and the businesses we interact with, but to stop thinking about those people as data points, as ATMs, as dollars and cents on a P&L, and start thinking about them as the human beings they are. It's one of the reasons why it's so important to me to talk about building community. And it's why I think it's important that the focus that we use on social media should be about building community and not on just gaining followers. It shouldn't just be about the metrics, right? Don't get caught up in just following the metrics. It's not just about the number of followers. It's about how engaged those followers are, how deep those relationships are, right? That's what really matters. So bear that in mind. Be omnipresent, post across social media. Remember, you don't own the platform. You're renting the space, right? So, or actually you're giving free access to the space, right, for your data. So remember, you don't own the platform. It can go away. So just bear that in mind. And focus on building community, right? If you lose an account, it's just like my dad told me with making money, right? You can always make more money. You can always create another account, right? So make sure that when you're on social media and building those relationships, that you're doing it meaningfully, and that you're making an impact in people's lives, and always giving more than you get, right? So that's what I want to leave everybody with. Just remember that going forward. Thank you to everybody for being here. It was great to see Neil here again this week after a long absence. Welcome back. Hope to see you in the room.
I will be back every week. I'll be back every week. I live on Clubhouse 24/7. I have an address here now, just like Heather has.
Appreciate it, man. Glad to have you back. Welcome back to what many are calling the Tom and Dom Show. Not the smartest guys in the room. We are not the smartest guys in the room, and we're always happy to have all of you brilliant people in here with us. So thanks for being here. We love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on Clubhouse and streaming all over the interwebs. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And we hope to see you all soon. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see you on Threads. Bye, guys. Love you.